So she's a cornea, cataract and refractive surgeon at Jehan Eye Clinic, Mumbai. And I am sure Dr. Kapoor has a lot of questions on this topic.
Are my slides visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Swapnish and Dr. Preetham, for making me a part of this. So I'm going to be talking about IOL power calculation post-refractive surgery. At the outset, I want to say that when I did my DNB, I learned a totally different method for this, which was personalized as per the surgeon who had taught me. When I went into fellowship, I learned an entirely different technique. And when I came out of fellowship and presented this for the first time in an IC at MOS, my colleague or co-instructor presented a technique that was totally different. So at the end of the day, you have to do whatever floats your boat. This is the technique that I think is a little standardized, and hence I'm going to be presenting about that. So we all know that there are multiple tools that are required for calculation of IOL power after any keratorefractive surgery. One of the most important of them would be topographic data, because of the fact that you have manipulated the cornea by ablating it. So it's very important to have that data. The IOL master or the Lenstar if available. Otherwise, an accurate immersion biometry should do the job. And if available, that's a luxury. Then if you have the pre-LASIK data and the post-LASIK data prior to development of cataract. So being a refractive surgeon, what I do for most of my LASIK patients is I give them in a file their optical biometry readings noted pre-surgery, and post-surgery, when they come for subsequent follow-ups after 1 year, I do an entire workup, including topography and repeat optical biometry, and give that to them as a record. Now, why do we need all this? Because the technique that I'm going to be talking about is using the online ASCRS calculator for IOL power calculation. So when a patient post-refractive surgery comes into your OPD, whether you have only topography or only optical biometry or access to neither, what you need to know is do not hesitate to refer out. So why is this required? I'm going to be talking about that. Once you go onto the ASCRS calculator and you click on it, it gives you the option of prior myopic LASIK or PRK, prior hyperopic, as well as prior RK. After that, it also gives you the explanation of what all formulas it has excluded as per their update. So this is how the sheet looks like. Due to the want of time, I'm not going to go into details of it. But basically, it asks you for pre-LASIK data if you have it, your current post-LASIK data, which is the data before development of cataract surgery, and your optical ultrasound biometric data. If you have access to topography, it can be of any types. There's no hard and fast rule because it gives you multiple options, like whether you want to enter the topography of an ISIS topographer finding, which is the effective refractive power, or TOMI, or Galilei, or Pentacam, or OCT, so on and so forth. So whatever you have access to, you can feed in that data. And this is how it gives you the ultimate calculation. It tells you what formula it has used, and accordingly, it gives you a minimum, maximum, and an average power. So I'll talk about some examples. This was a 60-year-old female with LASIK done many years back, now having cataract and wanting spectacle independence. So at that time, I did not have topography nor biometry. So I sent her out and I got her topography done. This is what her Placido scans look like with her uniform central zone. This is the left eye. This is her IOL master. Now the reason I'm showing this is that as per this, in the right eye, it asks me to put in a value of 20 and in the left eye of 19. But when I put it into the calculator, it shows me an average IOL power of 20.9 for the right eye. So exactly 1 diopter difference, all right? Now, in the left eye, since she had some astigmatism, again, we entered it into the calculator. And as per my ASCRS calculator, these are the IOL powers that I use, which are exactly 1 diopter higher than what the routine IOL master was showing. But post-LASIK cataract, this is just post-op day 5 with a 0.25 cylinder in the right eye and 0.5 with a 0.5 cylinder in the left eye. So it gives you fairly accurate results. She went back to the vision, continue to be maintained. And 26 years back, pre-op refraction only minus 3.5 2 years post RK, stable refraction of -7.5. Right now, the readings were entirely haywire, and he had NS2. Now, these are his scans. Topographer over here, you have a special map where again you see the central zone and you look for the refractive equivalent power. That's what you are going to enter into the area of the slot on the ASCRS calculator, which asks you for pentacam. You can use this value over there. Which value do you use? You use the mean pupillary power. In this case, it was 38.28. So after feeding in that data of the topography and just the optical biometry data, we got an IOL power. It showed of 3.9, which is rounded off to the closest figure of 4. And I like to calculate myopia. So I have put in an IOL power of 5. Uneventful phaco, but post-op totally surprised on the first day with plus 2.25. But please note it settles down at 1 month with 1.75 and 3 months later almost near emetropia. So the take-home message which we should be aware of is that post-RK cases particularly do have a transient hyperopia, which is why anyways you should never hasten your decision to do an IOL exchange thinking that you've got a surprise in your result. Always wait for a substantial amount of time before you think that you have made a gross error. Counseling of such patients is very important. They should have realistic expectations. If they want to have spectacle independence, it is very difficult, and this needs to be given appropriate chair time prior to the procedure so that you are saved the trauma that you will undergo after the procedure otherwise. Thank you very much. I'd like to take questions.
That was, yeah. So, Dr.
Thank
Kapoor,
you,
sir, you would
Karishma.
like
That was very nice.
Thank you, sir.
That was very nicely presented. And I think the most important message to take is your first introduction, that in these cases there are many ways to skin this cat, and whatever suits you best is probably okay, you know? Yeah.
just
Pritam,
one
sir.
question, Dr. Karishma, is, yeah. So what happens if you have a post-refractive eye, which is, let's say, oil-filled after a retinal detachment surgery, and now you're planning a cataract extraction with oil removal? So is that ASRS formula works for that also?
Yes, definitely, but you will only be using your immersion biometry. You won't take in your optical biometry. It may not be as reliable. That's the only reason, because of the fact that in an immersion biometry, you would be looking at and visualizing where you're passing where the probe is passing through. That I assume that would be a little more accurate in this case.
Or the other option would be to do the oil removal first and then do a cataract.
First do the
Yeah.
So
Yes,
usually,
yes.
usually in general, not just because it's a post-refractive case, but in general, if you are looking for some amount of accuracy and you're promising something to the patient, then I would prefer doing an oil removal first and doing the cataract in a separate setting.
Right. Okay. Any other questions for Dr. Karishma, or we can?
And another very important thing that she stressed is that most LASIK surgeons today are not giving the A scan to the patients. You know, I think a biometry should be part of your pre-LASIK workup, which is not really happening. That should be emphasized.
Kapoor sir, do you see many people doing it?
It's not being done frequently, as Emani says.
No, but the LASIK is done at age of 20, 22. Will it matter when?
I don't know whether the A scan value changes. It is more of the, you know, keratometry which plays a role. So that is something that is in mind.